He announced his marriage first, and only afterward remembered I owned his contract. Because the day the wedding photos flooded the internet, there were no captions at all. Just two red marriage certificates stacked together, smiling faces pressed close, and within minutes more than 50 trending tags exploded across social media. Fans celebrating Evan Miller's 10-year love story, congratulating him on finally becoming official, finally settling down, finally being promoted from boyfriend to husband, while I had just finished work and returned to my hotel room overseas, where my assistant had already prepared several polished congratulatory posts for his recent awards and marriage, all of them quietly sitting in my drafts folder, waiting for my approval, waiting for him to call, except he never did. And 4 full hours passed without a single message, a single explanation, or even a courtesy text, which told me everything I needed to know. So I took off the necklace he once gave me for my birthday, handed my assistant a list, and told her calmly to schedule the congratulations from my verified account at 5:30 a.m. Instruct marketing accounts to amplify it, notify entertainment bloggers, and make sure all current filming projects, livestream promotions, and rookie launches continued as planned, while redistributing every endorsement, brand deal, and casting opportunity originally assigned to Evan to other artists, one by one. And when my assistant hesitated and asked whether we should at least hear his explanation first, I looked at her and asked whether she thought he was still controllable. Because 4 hours was enough time for a high school student to finish 2 full exams, yet he couldn't spare me a sentence. And in this industry, a good-looking man trying to shortcut his way upward is the easiest story in the world. Because when Evan joined my company at 18, he had stiff limbs, an untrained voice, and no real talent beyond a face that photographed. Well, and it was my company that paid for his private acting coaches, vocal trainers, etiquette lessons, and media polish, smoothing over his disrespect towards seniors, absorbing every scandal, quietly placing him into projects where exposure came slowly but safely, stacking experience until he gained both traffic and credibility, while never once explaining to him the one rule that actually matters here, which is that borrowed power feels identical to real power until the day it's withdrawn. And when we publicly confirmed our relationship years ago, doubts surfaced immediately because in entertainment, traffic is king, and once traffic collapses, everything collapses with it. Whereas what sustained him behind the scenes was never romance, but structure, because in this industry incentives last longer than emotions ever will. And as public opinion fermented overnight, my perfectly timed congratulatory post triggered a second wave of attention the next day. And when my assistant asked again whether I truly knew what I was doing, I opened Evan's old post, entered the comments section, and left a single question mark, nothing more. Because one question mark is enough to restart the internet, then handed the phone back to her and told PR to seize the moment, push analytical articles, let gossip accounts speculate freely, allow the topic to ferment. And when the tag hit #1, release a casual slip-of-the-hand apology, followed by a carefully curated post about my recent work, long-term vision, and commitment to nurturing young artists, while she recorded every instruction and finally asked why I seemed neither shocked nor heartbroken nor angry. To which I replied that morality can only restrain oneself, never others, and once you stop expecting decency, nothing surprises you anymore. But money is different. Money is real, and once it leaves your hands, it doesn't return out of sympathy. And if one day she ran a company with dozens of livelihoods resting on her decisions, she would understand why I reacted this way. And when my return flight was delayed due to holiday crowds, reporters surrounded me at the airport, asking whether I had approved Evan's marriage, whether it was real or publicity, whether we had broken up, whether I had been deceived, whether I regretted spending 10 years building a man for someone else, and whether the company would terminate his contract. I raised my hand to adjust my sunglasses, casually revealing that the ring I used to wear was gone, trusting the internet to notice the detail for me, because sometimes silence confirms everything more loudly than denial. And as I smiled politely for the cameras, I knew the lie would collapse on its own, because if it were just hype, would he have removed his ring? The one he never took off even while filming, and as the internet dissected every frame they discovered that Evan's so-called better platform was nothing more than a family-run entertainment startup funded by Lily Carter's family, whose auto parts manufacturing business was already struggling under market consolidation, and while some wealthy heirs enter entertainment for experience and others for profit, Lily belonged to the latter, except she wasn't making any. And when Evan finally confronted me demanding contract termination, claiming he deserved a brighter future, I calmly quoted the liquidated damages clause $280 million and watched his voice crack because contracts are not love letters. And when he argued the number was unreasonable, I told him to sue me because I had lawyers and time, and as long as his agent remained under my company, he wouldn't receive a single offer. And even when he scraped together the money with help from her family, believing new capital would protect him, he discovered too late that the connections he thought were his had never belonged to him at all. Directors stopped calling brands quietly, withdrew productions recast without explanation, and the industry moved on the way it always does when someone mistakes borrowed power for personal strength. And months later, when he returned, masked voice shaking, asking whether I could lift the blacklist, whether he could survive, whether 10 years of loyalty meant nothing, I asked him whether he truly believed betrayal carried no cost. Because I don't destroy people out of anger, I simply stop investing and gravity does the rest. And while he begged, cried, and tried to weaponize memory, I walked past him without slowing down. Because this industry doesn't punish betrayal, it just stops funding it. And once that happens, no amount of trending tags, love stories, or public tears can buy back the ground you chose to burn.